With a smell, feel,
Just really
sound
be perfect. exactly
like a real $100 bill. And you should see him talking about this. Like his eyes were like shining. He was so proud for being considered the best counterfeiter in
Well, you are a sculptor. I mean, you're like a money Michelangelo, I guess. And that way, if you really did the best one ever.
But they are actually, their entrepreneurship and their creativity just never ceases to surprise me. It's pretty incredible. And then the other reason I think is impunity in many of these places, like Sinaloa, for example. There's just so much police corruption that they just don't see a downside to talking to a person, to me, to Nat Geo. Now the show is on its 5th season, so it's sort of established. People trust us more. And then I think the third most important reason is a very human characteristic that we all share of wanting to be understood, right? When I approach people, I say, no matter who they are, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here because I really, truly want to understand why you do what you do. I want to understand your world. And really, I think that's sort of the last thing that gets them to decide whether it's a yes or a no. I've gotten hundreds or thousands of no's. And that's the part that you don't see when you see the show, right? So it seems easy. But I think really is that sort of human connection and the ability that we have to tell them, look, I just want to listen, because I think listening and understanding is way more important than just judging.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also when people are living something in secret, right, it's tough. I think living in secret is tough, no matter what it is. Like if it's something that you're keeping from loved ones, if it's a reality, sometimes that you're keeping from yourself. Like I've done things in my life and I almost like compartmentalize them so I don't have to feel them, you know, so I don't have to feel like I have done those things. And I think living in secret and not having somebody to share something with, it can get very painful over time. So yeah, having, I think, an outlet of just somebody to even talk to for a little bit about something that feels so shameful or dark or confusing to you can be really, really, can be wonderful. It must be just such a high when you're approaching like people who are, I guess, kind of underworld characters, maybe?
Yeah, that's what they are. Black market operators, underworld characters, people who their whole lives have been trying to stay out of the limelight and, hiding and doing illegal stuff where they don't want journalists poking around.
And are you ever amazed? Did you ever meet someone and you were like, I cannot believe this person is involved? Like
Oh my God, constantly. Seriously, all the time. And you think that after I've been covering black markets for 20 years, that you think that after some time I'd sort of have an idea of who's involved. It's not only your neighbor that looks like a completely normal dude that's involved in some sort of illegal activity that you had no idea about.
Yeah, like a Mets fan or whatever, probably.
Yeah. But that is also happening all around. I mean, I filmed episodes. We did an episode about assassins that was just a couple of miles from my home in L.A. And I interviewed an assassin, a guy who's paid to kill, just a couple of miles in L.A., an undisclosed location, but in L.A., not far from my house. It's insane.
And where do you go alone?
No, I go with my team, but no security. Usually I'm the only woman. We have some female members of our team, but on the majority of cases, it's just me and my camera team, who are all male, producer, director. So we're 6 people usually. Very often I'm the only woman, and it's never with security. That's a question we get asked a lot: is do we travel with security? And I think that what security would do for us is completely counterproductive to our job. We're trying to convince people to trust us, to show them that we respect them. And if I show up with security, I'm basically telling them, I don't trust you and possibly I don't respect. Why should you trust me, right?
Yeah, like I've thought about having security sometimes, even just out in the world, and I just keep shying away from it because I just don't like the energy of that. But then also the world gets scary. But I think in your place, you're coming with a bridge of like, I want to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my cards on the table that I'm here in peace.
Right, exactly.
When you pull up on an assassin like that, like where do you meet them at? Where do they go?
Yeah, so again, it's many months, sometimes years of trying to get, I've been wanting to do a story about assassins. It's sort of all the black markets, right? Yeah, this is a former police officer in South Africa. South Africa is one of the biggest countries in the world in terms of assassinations and assassination attempts and actual assassinations and people being killed. And you can hire an assassin in South Africa for like $1,000. And so from LA, from interviewing that assassin, we went to South Africa to see why was it this crazy world and what could we learn from that. And you were asking
Yeah, like when you go to meet an assassin, like
How did I get a meeting with him? Yeah. So in the case of the American Assassin, for many years, I've been wanting to do that story. If you think of the black market, you think assassins is sort of the worst of the worst thing, right? Not easy, right? It's not as if you can go online and do a Google search for an assassin.
Right.
But I have a contact here in LA that I've done many stories with who really connects me to people in the underworld. He's a member of the underworld himself, and he's a really colorful character. I've done many stories with his help. And I contacted him, and he said, look, I'm
Gavin Newsom,
going to see what I can do.
That's just an old Gavin Newsom joke. Sorry, and I shouldn't joke around. Sometimes I do joke around a little bit. Let's go back
So
to your
you
story.
can definitely joke around.
Okay, sometimes I feel
Please do. These are serious topics, but it's not, doesn't mean, I hate it when people interview me and they think they can't have fun because I'm talking about such serious